Saxry was the only one, the last season, I believe, that Flash played Terran. Saxry was the only guy that took a map off him before the finals. Like, Saxry is so legitimately good. Okay. Let's go into this. All right, so this is day 2 of the ASL Qualifiers. I felt pretty good. I got some good sleep. I was pretty well rested. And I was just... Yeah, I felt nice. I also got a cool bracket where if I beat this guy, I get to play Poussin, who's one of my favorite Protoss pros from way back in the day. Poussin's one of the oldest players. He might be the oldest player that's ever qualified for ASL. Still a very good player, and I actually really wanted to play him when I saw he's in my bracket. So yeah, I was excited to go into this. I was like, oh, I even get to warm up against the Protoss. This guy, I'm not entirely sure of what his rank actually is. He's one of those guys that is S rank, but has, like, a ton of accounts. So this guy just had a bunch of undefeated, less than 10 game accounts. So it's someone that just smurfs over and over and over and over in his S rank. Okay. Let's take a look at it. But, I mean, I felt okay going into it anyways, despite that. My TVP is feeling pretty good lately. And if I can open well, if I don't get screwed in the early game, I feel pretty good about TVP right now. Okay, so cross-spawn scout. Interesting. And the Zealot gets here very, very, very quickly. Okay, so here we go. 305, he's walking up my ramp. So I have 1 Marine. This is tough. And I did the end scout, so this gets, I get in some trouble here immediately, right? Because the Zealot's coming up, and this is quicker than expected. And, okay, so I start microing, but my SCV goes in. And, like, I'm going to lose this SCV very quickly, which is unfortunate. And this is something that I need to work on because this actually really costs me that I lose this SCV. You'll see that in a moment. And I have some other things set up for situations like this where I know my attention is so much in one area, I can't do something else. So set it up ahead of time. Like, for instance, when I get Zealot Rush like this, generally one of the first things I do is just tell an SCV to build a depot somewhere. Because you need that third depot and you're microing so hard that it's hard to take attention in the middle of your micro to do it. And I need to be able to do that with my scouting SCV as well, because to lose the scouting SCV starts a cascading effect that makes me have a very tough game here. Okay? Because see this? He's going Forge. Okay? And I lose the SCV because I'm microing very heavily here. See? He's got 2 Zealots in. And I'm doing my best. It's tough. So I micro all right. This is not the worst micro I've ever done. It was a little bit tough. Okay. Now, I glanced down because I had lost the SCV, right? So I glanced down at the minimap and I could see that I had already seen the Nexus started. Okay. So I'm like, okay, he just spent like 2 Zealots. So I can bust him with this push. But the reason why I think I can bust him is because I didn't see the Forge. If I see the Forge here, I stop making units immediately and expand. So I send a bunch of SCVs. And I don't want to go too far ahead. You don't want to just send 3 SCVs up against the Zealot. So I clump everything up here. And he's suiciding another Zealot. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to bust him, right? So I micro heavily against this Zealot. Because it's like, okay, if you're throwing away another unit, I'm going to bust this easily. I don't need to move in right this second. Because he's just going to have less units. Okay, so I kill that, and I'm like, okay, now we're ready to go. I can put all my attention into the micro here. So I start to go. And I see the cannon. So now I've lost a gigantic amount of mining time with all these SCVs. I've added yet another depot. I've made more Marines. I've made more Vultures. Yet he has cannons. So this is the worst case of all cases. This is the absolute worst scenario. And all of this comes back to the fact that I was microing heavily and I lost the SCV in the main base and did not get to scout this kind of semi-hidden forge. So that's very painful because I am incredibly far behind here. His Nexus is done. He's already up 4 workers. I'm not mining with... like, a third of my SCVs are not mining. My tech is bad. Everything's bad. I try to come in. He pulls the probes. I can't do it. I have to turn around. I'm down 10 workers. Brutal. Just brutal. Okay. So, now, there are some things that, you know, I get cheesed on the ladder all the time. So I know in situations like this to scout everywhere on the map. Because someone who plays like this, who does like Zealot Rush into cannons and stuff, is in general a cheesier player. Usually. Usually. That's how the trend goes. So I spread my Marines out and send them everywhere because he can't attack me. Like if you've gone cannons, you don't have goons out yet. Like my vultures can kill everything you have other than your cannons. So it's fine. I can just send Marines around to scout everything. Throws down the offensive pile, and that's annoying. I lay a few mines. I bring the vultures up to lay some more mines. And then I find this. Okay? As soon as I see this, I know it's Dark Templars. Now, I have already, at home, started the starport. Because he went cannons, and I feel behind, I'm like, we're going to try a vulture drop. Which I think it's an okay choice. I don't do this all the time, but I have a decent amount of practice with vulture drop builds. And it felt fine. Because, like, I don't need tanks or anything for quite a while because he went for a forge expand. So it's like a long time till he has, you know, to go from cannons into dragoons with range and observers takes a long time. So I can easily get a vulture drop off. Now, scouting this, like the second you scout this, you are 100% certain it's DT. That's the only thing you would ever build out of these. The only other thing that you might think about is like Speed Zealot all in or something where you're... But the point of the gates being on the side is to avoid mines. Okay, that's why you put gates over here. Because you want mines as close to Protoss as possible. And you generally won't leave mines right in front of your base. So if you make DTs out of here, a lot of times you just slip by and there's not many mines. Like, look at this situation, right? It's correct. I have 3 mines here, and then most of my mines are being placed here to slow down any incoming army from his base. But now that I've seen this, I'm like, okay, it's DT. So I already have a starport going for a drop. I have, you know, vultures with mines already on the map. So what I want here is Academy. There's no reason to go for turrets. You don't really need it because you already have the mines, and then you just get scanners and you're good. Now, over at his base, see starport, robo, okay? And I just snuck some vultures in, okay? I'm still way down in workers, but I just snuck vultures in, okay? And I see Dark Templar tech as expected, Stargate, spinning core. So spinning core, I attribute to Dragoon range. Because I know he doesn't have Dragoon range yet. Because of everything that's happened in this game. I know he hasn't afforded it yet. And then you see a Stargate this early with DT tech. And he's already been trying to go DTs. So here I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a very quick Arbiter rush. But he doesn't have gateways. He's got 1 gateway. We're going to hit a timing attack and kill him. Tries to slip into DT. It doesn't work. Now he goes for a DT drop, which I guess this is my bad because I skipped making the Wraith. Normally, when you do go up into Arbiters, you will eventually get Observers with it. So that's what I thought this would be for. Since I already knew that it was DT, I figured... I didn't go for an eBay because I thought, well... This didn't seem realistic to me that you would go DT drop. It just... It's so late. A 9-minute DT drop. Of course, it does huge amounts of damage because I really did not think he would do this. Okay, also, notice I am going up to Science Facility. This is specifically because it's an Arbiter Rush, or so I think. Look at this. He's just making another Nexus down here. And I'm getting ready for this push because I know he's so Gateway Light. He's sacrificed a lot of units. Yeah, I know that I have a bigger army than him. So come down, build a couple turrets for anti-DT. And then 3 carriers fly out. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. So he has a Zealot and a Dragoon. And here's 2 more Dragoons. That's his army. And he's making a Nexus here. And he's making a Nexus up here. So at every moment, he did exactly what I did not expect. And it's a tournament, so I can't complain too much. Like, you do what you want to do in a tournament and you try to win. That's all a tournament is about, is winning. But I was pretty frustrated. I was pretty frustrated at this point because none of it really made very much sense. None of the stuff he did didn't actually fit together all that well. And all the moves I made that would generally work out in situations like this absolutely did not. So I am completely fucked here. And this, of course, is always the wrong choice. When carriers are attacking your tanks, you don't move them forward in siege. But I was tilting pretty hard from this. So I was feeling pretty good about how I played the day before. And yeah. Like, none of his tech actually supports each other, I guess, is something I should say, because, you know, people watch this and then they're like, LOL, well, it won. But you got to think about the thought process. You can't actually defend absolutely every single thing. And you can't just non-stop scan their base because you need the scans for detection and things like that, right? You can't just rely on one science vessel to detect everything forever. So I'm trying to bank scans and things like that. I'm trying to look at this situation realistically, like what should be coming, what could be coming. And, like, to go 3-gate DT and try to push them through mines into carriers doesn't really... Into DT drop, into carrier, like, the things don't support each other, right? They're all just separate ideas that have been lined up. So yeah, a little bit rough there. I'm so far behind that I'm trying to go Wraith, but obviously my starports are too close, so he sees that. He sees that. And I kill some of them, but I already wasted all my tanks, so I'm screwed. So I made a lot of bad choices here as well. Trying to do something over here. I did like a drop, running around with my army, but he goes into like Corsair from here. I kill bases, but he's got too much. You see he's just making nexuses everywhere. So that was game 1 against this guy.